for a moment. Let it get good and dry. The back flaps can stay open for now. And this is what we have. Okay, our roof is still drying. Our 2 columns are completed, so we'll move those aside for now. And let's begin work with the Globe Theater stage roof. Now there's quite a bit of folding on this, so let's just start together, and we're going to fold all the dark lines. There's one right in the middle of the roof you may not be able to see well, and you can see what's happening already. This is wanting to go naturally right under the edge there, and that's kind of the way it's going to look. I'm going to set it right there inside the model in just a few minutes. Okay, so we're creasing on all the folded lines. Make sure at the tip of this that you have cut that fishtail out real cleanly. It will help when you get ready to put the roof on. So we're folding at all the major lines. So it looks something like that. Okay, now wherever there is a dot, that's where glue goes, but we're not going to glue all the dots at this point. We're simply going to start with the first one on the front. It is folded under the roof piece itself. The back is still open pretty well. You can probably just use your finger to hold that down, but again, you can use scissors or a toothpick if you prefer. Just hold it for a moment. And we're actually going to, as soon as it adheres, we're going to set this aside and let that dry. Alright, let's move to the stage itself. Now you'll notice on the stage floor where you put your name before, there's a nice little rectangle. That's where the stage itself will be glued in just a few moments. Alright, so just kind of giving you a point of reference here. Alright, now this one is a bit tricky simply because it has some small edges to it. But you'll notice that there, oops, let me turn it the right way. You'll notice that there are dark lines here, 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 and here, and one right across here, and of course the flaps at the top. Now it's these very small little sections that you need to be careful in folding, alright? So when you finish folding and gluing, you have this nice little 3D box effect. This is a finished one that I've just done. Alright, so I'm going to leave that set there while we fold on the dark lines. So take a few moments and let's fold very carefully along all the edges so that we get this, again, this nice little 3D box effect. You can see it's already wanting to fold itself in, and that's exactly what it should do. Fold all the edges. Okay, now we've got this little box effect. This is the back of the stage. You don't want to fold it down, you want to fold it toward yourself so that you can see the balconies, because that's where Romeo and Juliet would be in their particular scenes. So instead of folding backwards, we're going to fold forwards, crease, and you get this effect. Let you see from all angles there, all sides. Okay, the last tabs to fold under are the ones at the top, and these go behind. So we have this nice little stage taking shape. Now the tricky part is the gluing, simply because you have tight spaces to work in. So I'm going to turn it this way so that you can see. Glue where the dots are, glue where the dots are. This is a good place for a toothpick. Fold the bottom of the stage in on the stage floor. I can hold it just a little bit, but what's going to be more beneficial if I can slide that toothpick in there and hold it that way. There you go. Now you can see that a little better. It may take just a second or two for it to adhere nicely, or stick to your finger like mine just did. Now we can do the opposite side. We've already put glue on it, so let's fold it in. Again, this is a good place for the use of a toothpick. Slide it in the tight corner. make this little box as nice and clean as you can as far as accuracy. Oh, that didn't help. Let's try that again. Just hold it and let it adhere. And once we're finished, we have a nice little stage. Looks just like the one we started with there. Now when it's all done, this stage will sit here and the little roof will come over top. And you'll notice that there are some little dots right on the front of the 3D box. That's where the columns get glued down, but that's last. Okay, but that's what we're working toward, that right there. Okay, let's set that aside and let it dry. And now we're ready for the walls of the Globe Theater. This is actually not complicated. It looks complicated, but it's not. You have square teeth on the top and little triangular teeth on the bottom. Now, it's going to take a couple of minutes to really kind of work this, and you want to make sure I'm working with the short piece, the shorter of the two pieces. The triangular teeth get folded and the square teeth get folded. Now, you don't have to mash them down like I've done just yet. You can kind of just leave them with a little fold because they're going to go in opposite directions in just a moment. Just need some flexibility with that. Okay. Once everything is folded, we'll do our first gluing. Now, if this is the inside of the wall of the Globe Theater, we don't want to be looking at white. We want, as we're standing inside the Globe Theater, to be able to see the seats and the stage. So the print goes to the inside. You're going to roll it like this and in a circular fashion toward the inside. Now you'll notice that you have a square over here with a dot on it and a rectangle over here with no dot on it, but you've got some little inset tabs. Alright, so what we're going to do is put glue. I'm going to put a little bit more than just a dot there. And I'm going to roll this behind the rectangle. Now let me turn it so you can see. Again, hold it out here. Put that square behind the rectangle and line up the black line so that it looks like this from the inside. This will be behind the stage that we just created. So hold that for just a moment. Let that adhere. And let's just set that aside and we can do the outside wall now. Now this time we want the print on the outside. So again, you folded your little tabs, got them flexible here, in and out. Okay, we want the print on the outside this time. Here's the square with the dot on it. Notice there's not a corresponding one on this side, so this square is going to go just simply behind and the solid line will line up with the print. Alright, now let me show you what I mean. Print to the outside, square behind, and line up. Now let me grab the glue, put some glue on here, and simply tuck it in and hold it. Make sure your print lines up nicely. And we're getting the circular effect. Actually, the Globe Theater is octagonal. It had corners to it, but we're going to go with the circle form on the model. Okay, once that's dry, look what's starting to happen. The tabs are all folding in on themselves. That's exactly the way it should look. Here's the top view. Here's the bottom view. And you can give your tabs a little boost there. We're actually ready to go now to the floor itself. You'll see these markers are reminders of where all the tabs line up. So what we're going to do is put some glue along that line. Feel free to be generous with the glue. Now, as we put this circle on top of the floor, there are two landmarkers that you need to look for. These kind of look like Mickey Mouse ears on the bottom, if you noticed. I've held them down and I've held them up. Alright, this is where the columns are going to go. There are corresponding spaces on the outside print of the Globe Theater to line up with those. It doesn't matter if it's 3 or 2, just as long as 3 and 2 both line up with those tabs. So I'm simply going to place my circle on the stage floor and double check I didn't have that aligned, so I'm going to have to roll it a little bit. There's one lined up. I think I'll use a pen for this. I'm just going to mash the tabs down onto the paper underneath. And let me make sure that my number 2 is lining up there. Pretty close. Close enough. Alright, now, I've not started pressing this down, but you can see from the inside that those tabs need to be pressed tightly into that glue. So I'm going to go around the edges here and do just that all the way around the edges. So, do a little tapping here. If you feel like you don't have enough glue on the floor, you can always add more. Okay, I think that will hold. Now the triangular tabs don't have to be pressed down all the way. Actually, we're not even going to put glue for the most part on all those tabs, but they can just kind of stand up. Alright, so here we go. Looks nice. Now we're going to take the inside wall and put it inside the Globe Theater. Now a couple of landmarkers. Here's the stage floor itself. This is where that is going to go.